kind of continues to change, we will amend those agreements, giving us that power.
Mr. Meier, you represent the investor side, basically the people putting the cash up. And there has been a report by Fitch Ratings that there's a higher amount of structured finance paper pledged in these repo transactions, which is not, let me assume, not as liquid as some of the other forms of paper that you have. And particularly in the case of mutual funds with the new rule, the 287 rule about what they can hold, what they can't hold, is there a potential problem here where they get the collateral back, but it's collateral that they cannot hold or they have to dispose of immediately, so it's basically, well, we have to give it away almost, because is that a dilemma that you face?
I think it's a real risk, Senator. I also read the Fitch report yesterday, and I was disturbed, and I mentioned it to Mr. Whifford, read it as well, that there still is a lack of, I'd say, proper diligence on the part of investors really to really look at the types of collateral, the suitability. So, for example, in a money market fund, our position is that the traditional collateral, treasuries, agency mortgage-backed securities, are appropriate and suitable forms of collateral. We do not go down in credit quality. We don't take credit spread bonds, et cetera, into the money funds. And I do think, I was actually encouraged, we had a meeting last week with someone from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York and the SEC asking all the right questions about, our activities as an investor. Do we have default contingency plans in place? And what our thoughts are around suitability of collateral, particularly for money market funds. Those questions were asked by the SEC. So I think the right questions are being asked. What I would like to see is the Federal Reserve start to audit default contingency plans and actually make sure that people have a thoughtful process in terms of what they're accepting as collateral, and are they actually looking at it. And we can rely on the tri-party custodian banks to do that for us. We don't feel it's appropriate. And we are very thoughtful in terms of the process we go through when we determine what are acceptable forms of collateral, even down to CUSIP-specific levels with various counterparties.
But there still exists a possibility that either wittingly or unwittingly, a mutual fund could have the collateral in that transaction that the dealer put up is something that would be very difficult for them to liquidate if that became their only mechanism to pay back.
That is a real risk, Senator, yes.
And let me